Hey Toy fans, D21Beast here, back with another figure review for you guys here today. And today we're looking at the Series 2 Toys R Us exclusive wave of Avengers Age of Ultron Minimates released by Diamond Select in 2015. Now for those of you with local comic book shops that actually order Minimates in, you may be wondering what's so exclusive about this wave. Well, unlike your local comic retailers, the Toys R Us wave includes a 2-pack of War Machine and Dr. Banner in place of a Vision and Hydra Soldier, which is a pretty nice exclusive if you ask me. Earlier this year, I reviewed the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch 2-pack, also exclusive to Toys R Us, part of the Series 1 wave. In place of these two guys, comic book retailers instead received a Hawkeye and Ultron 2-pack. Now at the time that I reviewed Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, I didn't actually have the other figures available in the line, but I have since completed my collection of Series 1 from Toys R Us with the Iron Man, Black Widow, Thor, and Captain America 2-packs. So if you want to see reviews of those, let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to hit them up later on. But today we're looking at the Series 2 Toys R Us packs. And as you can see here, we do have Ulysses, Klaue, and Hulk, we've got Dr. Banner and War Machine, and the Hulkbuster and Rampaging Hulk. So I'm really excited today to be able to fill out some holes in my Marvel Cinematic Universe Avengers collection. Let's get things started by taking a look at the packaging for these figures. As you come down the front of these boxes, you do have the Avengers pictured off there to the left and the Minimates logo off to the right, as well as the Avengers Initiative logo. We then have a window box packaging that does house these figures inside, as well as their accessories. At the bottom of the package, you've got an image of each figure on the left and right corners, and then you have the logo for Avengers Age of Ultron. Also note the Toys R Us exclusive sticker on the War Machine and Dr. Banner 2-pack. Flipping these packages around, you do have the Diamond Select Art Asylum Marvel and Minimates logo on the top. You do have a complete lineup of all the figures available in this wave. Then at the lower left and the lower right of each one of these packages, you've got the bios for each figure enclosed. We've got the bio for Klaue, go ahead and pause it now. Bio for Hulk, Dr. Banner, War Machine, Hulkbuster, and the Rampaging Hulk. Alright guys, well that's the packaging. Let's say we get these minifigures out of the box and see what they're all about. Alright toy fans, so here we have all of these Minimates out of the packaging, and while the desirability of each one of these characters is ultimately going to depend on your opinion of how they were handled in the movie, it should be noted that I think every one of these figures has a great amount of detail put into them. Let's start by taking a look at the Bruce Banner and War Machine 2-pack. Here we have Bruce Banner and War Machine, and I think Diamond Select did a great job of rendering these guys in Minimate figure form. The Bruce Banner especially surprises me in the way that they've handled the hair sculpt. A lot of detail here, and even a paint wash going around the whole hairpiece, so nice attention to detail there. I don't know that the face sculpt looks entirely like Mark Ruffalo, but usually get a pass on such things with Minimates. Coming down the figure here, you have a nice plaid shirt, which I must mention is very similar to the plaid shirt we had for Dr. Selvig during the Thor the Dark World Minimate set. So if you wanted to, I suppose you could swap torsos and have your Bruce Banner without his lab coat if you don't want it on there. And then they've just given him these sort of, it's almost got a purple hue to it, but they're mostly gray pants with black shoes. And I'd like to compare him here too. This is the Bruce Banner Minimate figure that we got back in 2003 during the Ang Lee Hulk film. Now at the time, Diamond Select didn't have the rights to do movie licensed Minimate figures, so what they did instead was release comic book figures at the same time that the movie was out. So this is the very first Bruce Banner Minimate we ever got, and here's the most current one we've ever gotten. And I think it's interesting to see what, roughly 15 years can do in improving a sculpt with the detail on the face, the way that the coat's been handled, the shirt, and everything, so I thought that was kind of a fun comparison to be able to do here. But truth be told, I'm not actually a huge fan of this Bruce Banner Minimate until it comes to his alternate head. You can actually remove the standard Bruce Banner face, and you can actually replace the head with the sort of angry or pre-transformation Bruce Banner head with these nice green eyes and that scowl. I think it's a really fun piece to add to this civilian figure. The War Machine's actually really great in its own right. Now I don't know if this War Machine is reusing any pieces from the Iron Man 3 line. I'm going to assume he is, but I don't actually have that figure for comparison. But I do think he's a really nice looking Minimate figure. He's bulked up everywhere he should be, and he's got some nice sculpted detail here. The shoulder mounted cannon does not actually rotate back and forth on the track or even hinge back at all. It's pretty static where it's at. But it is painted nicely overall, the whole entire figure. And I like that when you pull off the helmet, you do have a Don Cheadle head there on the inside. Now, the look for Don Cheadle I think does work, but he just looks a little surprised, or maybe it's a little sleepy. I don't think it's the best expression they could have used for a War Machine face, so I wish it would have done it a little bit differently. Also, I don't like that because it's the only other head we have, that you have a hole in the top of his head the entire time. I almost wish they would have done an alternate head for this War Machine figure, just like they did with the Bruce Banner figure. But overall, I'm really digging the War Machine minifigure, definitely the highlight of this particular 2-pack. Also, just like we've seen with other Minimate figures in the past that can fly, War Machine comes with this flight stand, and it's pretty easy to go ahead and pull off his peg stand, and just put him on this. And once you have War Machine plugged onto his flight stand, you can get some pretty cool action shots of this little minifigure. The Hulkbuster and Rampaging Hulk 2-pack may be a bit confusing to any of you who didn't follow the pre-production of Avengers Age of Ultron. Originally, Hulk was supposed to turn into Grey Hulk when he was mind-controlled by Scarlet Witch. He'd have the glowing red eyes, just like this minifigure does, but they were going to give him sort of a lighter gray tone, at least Joss Whedon wanted to. Ultimately, they decided to scrap that plan because they were worried about confusing the viewer. I'm not really sure why. If we were willing to accept glowing red eyes, fans who didn't know the comics could have probably accepted that his skin turned gray when he was mind-controlled. Anyway, that's why we have a sort of grayish Hulk figure in this Minimate 2-pack. Now this Hulk is very similar to ones that we've seen in the past, based off the comic book series, and he has those bulked up body pieces that we're familiar with. Also, similar to what we just saw with the Bruce Banner Minimate, this Hulk has a paint wash that's been applied to his hair sculpt. Now this Hulkbuster Minimate is truly something special. He's got a nice reflective red paint all over his body. They've applied tons of silver and gold detail where it's necessary. Lots of sculpted detail on this Minimate figure. I mean, really, it's very impressive, and it's also heavier than a typical Minimate figure in my hand. Very, very nice piece. As you flip up the hinge on the back of this Minimate Hulk figure, you can see that there is a Mark 43 helmeted Iron Man head inside. It's very similar in appearance to the 43 head that we got on the Series 1 Age of Ultron Iron Man Minimate. It's just not a removable helmet like the Series 1 had. And if you wanted to, you could actually remove this Mark 43 helmet and replace it with a Tony Stark head you may have in your collection. However, it's worth noting that the Hulkbuster armor cannot actually close around any sort of Minimate head that's got an accessory on top of it. Still though, a very fantastic Minimate figure, definitely one of my favorites of the year. Also, it's worth noting that once you remove the upper torso piece for the Hulkbuster armor, there is actually a Mark 43 printed design on the Minimate figure body. Finally, we come to the Hulk and the Ulysses Klaue Minimate 2-pack. And honestly, this is the 2-pack that I really didn't want to get, but Diamond is forcing us to buy Ulysses Klaue if you want to get a proper Green Hulk. Now this Green Hulk figure is actually identical in almost every way to the Rampaging Hulk that comes with the Hulkbuster armor. Every bit of this guy is the same, it's just molded in a different colored plastic, except for where the face is concerned. There are different face details for each one of these Hulk figures, and obviously the Green Hulk doesn't have the glowing red eyes. And just like we saw with the Grey Hulk or Rampaging Hulk minifigure, there is actually a paint wash in the hair for this Hulk figure as well. A nice sort of green paint application, a very nice touch. Now I will say this for the Ulysses Klaue figure, even though I didn't want him, I am very much impressed by the face application on this guy. It looks just like Andy Serkis, I think more so than Minimates typically look, so good on Diamond for getting that right. He's got a nice sculpted hairpiece, and there is some nice detail here with the shirt being open. You can see his sort of chest tattoos, his arm tattoos, which I really didn't notice that much when I was watching the movie. He's got his wristband here. He does have a knife that'll actually come out of his belt. Nice separate piece that does fit into his hand, and it fits very nicely back into the knife holder there. Now the pistol, on the other hand, while it's a great little pistol accessory, it actually does not fit into his belt very well at all. And, you know, this is actually kind of a disappointment. I mean, look how loose that is. Minimates are usually pretty good about having very tight-fitting gun holsters, so I don't know why that they have such a big gap in this holster. It almost makes me think that a different gun was supposed to come with this Ulysses Klaue figure originally, and they just went ahead and recycled whatever they had in-house already, instead of sculpting a new piece. If that's the case, I wish they would have just removed the holster altogether, instead of resolving the problem the way they did. Looking at the back of this figure, there's not really a lot of extra paint detail going on. As you flip the Hulk figure around, he does have back muscles printed on, so that's certainly appreciated. At its core, articulation is largely the same for all the minifigures in this line, but with characters like Dr. Banner or the Hulkbuster, who have a lot of extra pieces added on, the articulation does tend to become somewhat hindered. But for the purpose of this review, we're going to look at Klaue for articulation. He does have a ball-jointed head that'll bend down that far and back that far and rotate left and right. He's got a ball-jointed shoulder that does rotate all the way around and has a single-jointed elbow that bends down that far and back that far. Full wrist swivel. He's got the same articulation here on the other side. He's got a waist rotation, ball-jointed hip that'll bend forward that far, bend back that far. He bends back at the knee pretty far. He's got a full rotation here at the ankle, and that completes the range of articulation. As always, these Minimates have a great range of articulation given how small they are. Height-wise, we can see that these Minimate figures do range in size anywhere from 2¼ inches with the Klaue and Bruce Banner minifigures, all the way up to just a bit over 2½ inches with the Hulkbuster. For some size comparison, here they are compared to the Mega Block Spider-Man minifigure, and compared to Creo Transformers Cheetor. Here they are compared to a standard LEGO minifigure, and compared to one of the original Minimate figures released in 2002, we've got Captain Kirk from Star Trek. And finally, here they are compared to an average-heighted Minimate figure. We've got Wolverine from the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Minimate figure line. What kind of loser suit have you made now, Stark? Oh, this old thing? It's just my new and improved Hulkbuster armor for the Avengers Age of Ultron movie. It's what now? It's my new Hulkbuster armor. I've codenamed it Veronica. You look like a walking garbage can. Hey! Knock it off! This is really expensive equipment.
Have you got a compactor stashed away in there too? Ha ha ha!
I don't look like a trash can, Logan. I worked really hard on this.
Yeah, we'll see about that, bub. Hey, Cap!
By the stars and stripes, who could have done this? And so far from the nearest receptacle, too.
Over here, Cap.
Why, thank you, Wolverine. You may be a Canuck, but your heart beats red, white, and blue in my book. Hey, if you see Tony, tell him I need him back at the barracks immediately.
Will do, Cap. You know, Tony, I think I see a hamburger wrapper down the street.
Let it rot. Alright, Toy fans, well that's my review of the Marvel Minimates Avengers Age of Ultron Toys R Us exclusive Series 2 wave of figures released by Diamond Select in 2015. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent wave of Minimate figures available from Toys R Us, and like I said in the beginning, most of these figures are available at your comic retailer as well. It's just the War Machine and Bruce Banner figures that are exclusive to Toys R Us in place of a Vision and Hydra Soldier. Where you pick up this wave is certainly going to depend on what's convenient for you, and whether or not your comic book store actually chooses to carry Minimates. Unfortunately, mine doesn't. If you only had your choice at picking up one of these 2-packs, I'd say go ahead and pick up the Hulkbuster and Rampaging Hulk 2-pack. But the War Machine certainly ranks high on my list. However, I do find Ulysses' Klaue pretty skippable. Besides, the next time we see him, he's probably going to be a supervillain, and that's the Minimate you'll really want to get. For my money though, if you can afford it, go ahead and pick up every figure in the wave. Doing so will really help you go a long way to building out a pretty complete Marvel Cinematic Universe Avengers team roster. All I have to do now is track down a Vision, Ant-Man, and Falcon. Until Doctor Strange. And Black Panther, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and the Inhumans. This could take a while. Well, thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here, please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Also, be sure to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at D21Beast. I'm sharing photos all the time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.